Hello everyone and welcome to the Orbital Platform. My name is Golden Nova, the lore lawyer, the explaining expert, and today we are doing anything but playing Yu-Gi-Oh! We are back on our third run of Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane. We are currently on Case 2. I forget how it's supposed to go whenever you do like the Ace Attorney things. It says down there, it's the first day of court. We've done our day one of investigations. Now we're trying to put what we've learned into practice. Is this going to be a one day or probably not? But hopefully we'll get to the bottom of who cast the necromantic spell, which one was cast, and then figuring out what the heck is going on with the creepy girl that keeps causing glitches in my very not sci-fi, very hopefully not fourth wall breaking game. How are we doing today? I'm seeing domain format. Hello, Michael, Ernest Yetlo, the Pokemon, Mad Wobbler, Dinah. So good to see all of you. So happy to see you playing this game. My close friends and I played it a couple years back and loved the hell out of it. I've been really enjoying it so far. I have nothing. Okay, I've had a few things to say, but not bad, but not about the story. There's some technical things here that I would like to see cleaned up in the future. But overall, this has been a great experience. Nova, I'm playing a visual novel with magical Nazis. I'm gonna need some more updates on that. You can't just drop it on like that. I need to know more about what you're talking about if you're gonna. You can't just stop it there. Me, make 2 tortellinis so I have one for today and one for tomorrow. And it's now 5 hours later, and I'm telling myself I could have a second tortellini. It's true! You have the option of overindulging in your delicious Italian food. Fun fact, they updated a lot of the game about a month or two ago from giving the animations talking sprites to fully revamping Case 3. That's crazy! So I'm picking this up as at like the director's cut stage is what I'm hearing. That's awesome. Peppermint Wish Night, first time catching stream, glad to be here, and I'm happy to have you. Thank you so much, Peppermint, for stopping by. Hopefully we can all enjoy a little magical investigation together today. That's when I was trying to be magical Nazis. But like actual Nazis were trying to be magical Nazis, so like that's not clearing anything up. They loved displacing all of their inadequacies into the world of the occult. That was just that's historically factual. Okay. We're done talking about magical Nazis for now. We'll see how what chat brings up. Let's go ahead and load this game and head into episode 2, part 3. This is so funny to show and like the on the title screen. If there is gameplay in the title screen at some point, I'm gonna lose my mind. Okay, it was time for the trial, and my heart was thundering against my chest like a drum. Oh, I should probably note here, I have been doing my best to keep up with the VOD channel. If you look up Golden No VODs, instead of Nova, you'd put like VODs where the VA would be. You can find it. There's a bunch of old streams where I did a bunch of custom cards, and I fell off that because I'm bad at keeping up with themes. But we're starting a new playthrough, so I figured that would be a good chance to restart the cycle. So the first 2 times I played Tyrion are cataloged on there if you don't want to watch them here on Twitch. And then I guess subscribe if you want to keep an eye out for VOD stuff there. Okay. That's called Dies Irae, and it's about a Japanese teenager with a French ghost girl in his right arm, which also has a guillotine in which he uses to kill magical Nazis. That is a fantastic plot summary. Thank you for expounding on that. I will be looking up Dies Irae in the future. That sounds sick as hell. Luckily, I've been reading about some meditative techniques after what happened last time. I just needed to take breaths and relax. I breathed in. I breathed out. I breathed in. Hi, Tyrion. Ow, Celeste! Don't sneak up on me like that. Are your nerves acting up again? Oh, wait, gotta take another break. Unfortunately, I can't see the screen very well. Fortunately, it's because I've got a big old buddy right here. Hello, Moby. Hello, Moby. This game's Case 3 used to be my biggest issue with the game, which is like complaining there's too many spell cards and Sky Strikers. It's not really a problem. Now it's good with kind of a new identity, but I love it. Interesting. I'd love to hear more about that. Like, does it completely redo the case? Like, is it different, like, victims or culprits or, like, Dylan's favorite starting game. It's pretty good. Now, my favorite so far, this has not knocked Of the Devil off of my new top spot, which I think now is, like, I think gold standard is, like, is kind of, like, one that should be passable with the right amount of effort and talent. And I don't think that everyone can do Of the Devil. I think Of the Devil is his own thing that is just so high above the rest of the of like the established visual novel canon. As a casual VN enjoyer, but this is pretty good. I am liking this. All right, come on. It's not as if this is the first time defending someone. No, it's just my second time. It's too bad Ruby couldn't make it. I'd say that you should calm down for Wallace's sake, but there are so many people here, and they're all looking at me. Their eyes are prying into me like a pack of flesh-eating maggots. Ew. I needed to calm down. I was just making Wallace more nervous. Don't worry, Wallace. Our investigations revealed a lot of weaknesses in the prosecution's case. We have a strong case for your acquittal. I won't go into details, but it's the same victim and culprit, but the mystery and method are changed alongside side mysteries that didn't get too much payoff. Interesting, okay. As opposed to ranked competitive VN enjoyers. I've seen how you may Neko people post, okay? And that's... Yeah, Umi Neko, that's the one. I've seen how you post, okay? Don't act like there's not competitive VN ladders out there. Actually, that was true. I really had nothing to worry about. See, you can be confident when you want to be. See, like that's one of the things that gets me. If you're watching this back later, you can probably pause and like frame by frame this. But we got this frame, and then it snapped over to the order transition thing. I don't like that. It is visually jarring, and I don't like it. I wish that they would just cut from that big court scene to the order thing, and then we go to this. It's just ugh. Visual novels are the least interesting speedrun category. That's just because you haven't found the right one. The tech that you can do in Saya no Uta is crazy. Court is now in session for the trial of Wallace Nightgrave. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. The defense is also ready. Very well. Prosecutor Steelwind, could you please list the charges? Mr. Nightgrave is a second-year student at the Wyvern Guard Imperial Academy. He is charged with first-degree murder, negligent misuse of the arcane arts, and illegal practice of advanced necromancy. Necromancy? Do you mean to tell me that the defendant is a necromancer? I can't believe it! A necromancer? In this day and age? How could the kingdom allow for this to happen? Woohoo! Objection! Like that, that's not... Tyrion is hot. Tyrion's alright. Tyrion's okay. Alright, I see what you mean. That, I think, maybe a visual bug in the update, because I don't recall that. I'll check my friend's old VOD just in case. Yeah, if that could be fixed, I would really like that, because that is, like, my biggest gripe on this. There is so much, like... It's not even just taking me out of it. My suspension of disbelief is fully on the side of this game, but just seeing that is, like... It's like doing a double take every time it wants to do a cool scene transition. I'm focusing more on my problems with the transition than the hype moments. Now my guy a necro dancer. Let's do like the rhythm minigame for this. I would be down. I think we need to actually have a Phoenix Wright-esque game that uses a rhythm thing. When are we getting our Phoenix Wright / lo-fi or hi-fi rush game? Your Honor, I would like to remind the court that they are obligated to judge my client objectively. Of course, but one can easily see it from the list of charges. Necromancy plays a large role in the charges. Indeed, the crime occurred within the academy this afternoon. The victim is Catherine Bellwether, a professor at the school. Well, former professor, because, you know, she's... But, you know... Honestly, the weirdest thing for this is that the heads feel weirdly big for some reason. I don't see what you mean. It might just be because I'm too anime art style pilled to really get the proportions on here, but I would make sense if that was something that was going on. Furthermore, the autopsy report shows that the body has no physical wounds. Necromancy is the only type of magic that could harm an individual without physically wounding them. Additionally, an alchemist report shows no signs of poison or disease. One could only conclude that a necromancer had committed the crime. I see. I think it's specifically Tyrion in comparison to Phoenix Wright, to be honest. Okay. That's what's throwing me off the most. I will trust your judgment on the matter. As many of you know, the practice of advanced necromancy is outlawed in the Kingdom of Wyverngard. Aside from the defendant, no other student had learned advanced necrotic magic. As such, the defendant was the only mage in that building capable of committing the murder. I see. That is certainly compelling evidence. To properly present our case, the prosecution would like to call Commander Orem White to the stand. Commander White, please testify to the court about the Inquisition's findings. Okay, I just checked. It goes straight from wide shot to epic judge scene to sitting judge in the OG version, but here I can see the epic judge scene starting like half a second too late, so I have a small glimpse of sitting judge too early. Yeah. Do not show the judgment. I am not someone whose judgment should be trusted. Well, it is something that I will keep a lookout next time I am particularly privy to the art style differences between my courtroom drama visual novels. We'll put it that way. Yeah. Witness testimony. It started when the City Watch got a call from the Imperial Academy. Someone was attacked, and the whole building was put on lockdown. We set up a perimeter around the area and waited for the lockdown system to deactivate. And then this cat walked in front of my screen again. Hello, thank you. When we finally got into the building, the prosecutor personally inspected the body and detected traces of necromancy on it. There were no cuts or bruises on the body either. The entire body was clean. With those two pieces of evidence, we concluded that it could only be the necromancer kid that did it. Overly specific speech, my favorite kind of speech. It's the only kind that I can do. If I go off on anything that isn't overly specific, the autism kicks in and I start worrying about unspecified things. What if if I don't use ye olde medieval speech, I'm not dictating specifically enough. The Inquisition's testimony was just as I expected it. I'd already found and identified the holes in Steelwind's case. All I had to do was find that hole in the commander's testimony. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Okay. And of course, this is an ace tournament. We have to press all the statements. We can't not press all the statements. What time did this call come in? A little after 3 p.m. It was a few minutes after the murder was discovered. Right. I remember that was around the time the lockdown occurred. Lockdown couldn't be entered manually, so they must have been forced to wait. Ended manually, so they must have been forced to wait for an hour until it was lifted. How secure was this perimeter? Is it possible that someone slipped past you? The Inquisition was working in conjunction with the City Watch and the King's Guard. With that many soldiers at the scene, it's very unlikely that anyone escaped notice. That made sense. For better or worse, the kingdom must have acted quickly to protect a building filled with the children of every noble family. Once you finish case 3, I'd be down to inform you on the differences between the old and the new version of the mystery if you're still curious about them. That sounds good. And definitely afterwards so that I have a point of reference. So, good instincts on that. Why did the prosecutor inspect the body instead of the Inquisition? Or prosecute it? Well...
Jackson.
How I choose to lead the investigation is irrelevant to the proceedings. Or would you like to insinuate that I'm not as competent as Commander White? It's not a question of your competency, Steelwind. I just find your actions to be bizarre, given how you usually work. While the court admits that the prosecutor's actions are unorthodox, we find the presence of a necromancer to be an unorthodox situation. I see no reason to question the prosecutor's actions. Thank you, Your Honor. How carefully was the body checked? Perhaps the prosecution missed something like a small puncture wound. The coroner couldn't find even the smallest cut, bruise, or fracture on the body. Furthermore, the alchemist report showed no signs of poison or disease. The necromancy spell had obfuscated the post-mortem divination. I spared no expense to verify the cause of death through other means. That made sense. If someone had used mend wounds on the body, it would have healed even the most minor of injuries. So how do I prove that someone healed the body? Orthworm dogs. Yes, the orthodox orthworm, as it were. Very Vatican I-minded. Crap, yeah, I just realized the objection cards just look brand new. They used to just be eye-clip cut-ins. At the least the game used to be way less animated. That's outrageous. I'm so glad that now I'm enjoying this now, because this is great. Okay, so last press. And the prosecution believes that my client used necromantic blight, or necrotic blight. Yep, it's the only way that the crime scene makes any sense. Necrotic blight? I'm afraid I've never heard of this spell before. Necrotic blight is a spell that drains the life force from its target. When used on a living human, it makes their bodily functions cease. Their body dies soon after. I see. What a horrible spell! The commoners should have never been allowed to learn something like that! I thought there would be more protections against children learning this! Whoa. Wallace's spell compendium really wasn't doing him any favors. There really is a large stigma against necromancers, isn't there? We already collected a lot of evidence after investigating the crime scene. We already know that the Inquisition's theory contradicts one of the clues that we found. Right. All I have to do is present that contradiction to the court. And that is something that I'll have to look over because it has been a week. Okay. So, map, spell, who's covered the body, Jan's statement, built with his reputation, Academy Content System. Should I actually forget what we're supposed to present here? Uh-oh. I'll have to at 2 p.m. Body shows no signs of bruises. The alchemist report has verified that death is not caused by disease. Chromatic and illusion magic. Cause of death is not apparent, but very likely necromancy magic. Necrotic blood. I'm horrified. Testicle explosion. That's just basic elemental magic. Yeah, that's just a fire going off. There's a pool of blood where it was. It's strange because you wouldn't have been wounded by necrotic blade. Okay. So this has to be it. Okay, so we just got to find the right statement before I start pressing. Wait for lockdown system. When we finally got the prosecutor respected the body, of necromancy, no cuts on the body, the entire body was clean. Okay, so this has to be it with this one. Objection! Wow. Commander White, it appears that you've neglected to mention one key detail of the crime scene. Yeah? And what's that? During your testimony, you said that the entire body was clean. I will admit that there weren't any wounds on the body. However, the body was certainly not clean. At the scene of the crime, there was a large pool of blood located where the body was. This blood had to have come from the victim's body, and it was certainly not clean like the commander testified. I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert, but I fail to see the significance of this. I'd like to remind the court of the prosecution's case against my client. They are accusing him of murdering the victim using necrotic blight, a spell which would not have physically wounded the victim. So why was there any blood at all? You steal life force and yet blood is involved. I'm very smart. The body was extremely dusty, Your Honor. Folks, this body was in storage for several years. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. The fact still stands. There were no wounds on the body, nor were there any reports of poison or disease on the autopsy. There are clearly magical elements in this case. But Catherine Bellwether was bleeding profusely at some point. How else would there be a bloodstain on the body? Do you have an explanation for that, Miss Steelwind? No. I'll admit that the prosecution doesn't have an explanation for that. And while I do find the circumstances questionable, all other evidence clearly points to the defendant. Which spell would leave a trace of necromancy? So tell me, Mr. Cuthbert, if the victim wasn't killed with necromancy, why was there a trace of it on the body? I'm glad you asked. I'd like to present a spell that could have left a trace of necromancy on the body. Oh, I didn't mean to do that when I wanted to select it. You want to present the defense's main defeat? Necrotic blight is the only spell that would have left a trace. Wait, that was a mistake. I meant to present a different spell. Yeah, I certainly did. Present. Okay, there we go. That's a very silly thing it lets you do. Okay, so it's mend wounds. Mend wounds. I gotta check on the bathroom. Tempest decided to walk in there, and I don't trust her. I don't trust the little creatures in that room. Okay. The blood is a complete coincidence. Someone was eating a very sloppy lasagna right before the murder happened and did not consider anyone else coming in. Mend wounds? Correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that a healing spell? That's correct, Your Honor. Spells from the School of Necromancy can control the forces of death and life. Mend Wounds is, in fact, a necromancy spell. Really now? I wasn't aware of this. Now, I'd like the court to consider the following. What would happen if Bellwether was wounded and someone attempted to heal her using Mend Wounds? All of her wounds would disappear from her body. I see. That does make sense.
Objection!
Do you think I'm that incompetent, Mr. Cuthbert? Frankly, I'm a little insulted. What? The Inquisition is well aware of what happens when a mage attempts to save a victim using Mend Wounds. The healer that arrived at the scene already confirmed that the victim was long dead. None of them attempted to heal her. Well, what if someone tried to heal her and didn't report it? Please, none of the healers would have anything to gain by doing so. In fact, as a necromancer, the defendant could have easily carried out the described scenario. You could have cast Mend Wounds on the victim after murdering her to confound the investigation. At the end of the day, the burden of proof was on us. Why? No, it's not. I mean, in the American justice system, that's not how it's supposed to go. Frost is actually a fire spell because it's removing heat. That's the funniest thing when you read the spell like Fire Shield in in Pathfinder. It literally is like that. It's all like, oh, or it could be cold, because heat stuff. But if I could prove someone else healed the body, it would sever the only thread linking Wallace to the murder. Whoever this healer was, Valentina definitely knew her. Your Honor, I will admit that I don't have any evidence to support my theory. However, I do believe that we can bring it to light. There may have been 2 people that witnessed someone cast magic on the body. Valentina and Valerie Ionis, the sisters who discovered the body. Real murderer was Gromit. Well, I don't like the sound of that, chap. This whole arcane arts debacle is getting a rather pebble in my shoe, Vomit. Yeah, I just checked. The updated version dropped literally my birthday, January 3rd. The UI, objection animations, sprite revisions, color balance fixes, all the way to rewriting some dialogue structure in cases. That's crazy. In the American justice system, the rich pressure the poor into accepting a settlement that acknowledges their guilt regardless of the truth because they can't afford the proper defense. Yeah, that's how it works in reality. I'm talking about fiction! They cast men butt crack on the victim because they thought that was the injury. Man, this game's a load of ass. This is nonsense. We've already questioned those 2 witnesses extensively. If they had witnessed something like that, it would have come up in their testimony. If that's true, then the courts have nothing to lose by hearing their testimonies. Very well. If you're so confident, let's hear her testimony. It seems the prosecution has no objections. If this line of questioning leads nowhere, however, I see no reason to further prolong this trial. Of course, Your Honor. Hey! Oh crap, it's that guy from before! He's the necromancer's lawyer? She just arrived at the stand and she's already stressing out. That would work in my favor. Witness, please state your name and occupation for the court. My name? Witness, there's no need to be so nervous. We merely want to hear about what you saw on the day of the murder. Right. It's just that guy over there, Are you talking about Mr. Cuthbert? Did this man harass you, witness? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah. He super harassed me. Mr. Cuthbert, I would expect someone of your profession to behave more professionally. I could hear Celeste snickering under her breath. You're enjoying this far too much. Anyway, please state your name and occupation for the court, Miss Ionis. My name is Valentina Ionis. I'm the head chef of the Wyvern Guard Imperial Academy. Really? And at such a young age? As I recall, you were one of the witnesses who discovered the body. Apparently, the defense finds your involvement suspect. Rest assured, Miss Ionis. In this courtroom, you'll be protected from Mr. Cuthbert's harassments. Sorry, I'm talking too much on the version differences, like describing whether to play Mario 64, the DS version. Hey, at least there's different things you can do between Mario 64 and Mario DS. Now in Star Fox 64 and Star Fox Switch 2, they're just the same game. She just snuck a sword into the soup. Wait, I want to hear about the sword soup idea. Wait a second, I think there's some grounds to this one. There's got to be a pun with the Iana sisters, right? I'm missing something. We caught the yawn one pretty quickly, but I haven't seen, like, there's some joke there, and it's hitting me over the head like the metal pipe .mp4, but I cannot get it. Now, please testify to the court on what happened that day. Yeah. I know, right? Star Fox already has the Switch outing. Points to Starlink Battles of Atlas, which has Star Fox added in the Switch edition. Man, I kind of wanted to try that out, but I never got around to it. My immediate thoughts was Icarus, but I doubt that's it. I was walking with my sister in the West Wing when we noticed something in a nearby classroom. We looked over to see what it was. That's when we saw Miss Bellwether bleeding on the ground. My sister tried her best to help her, but the professor had already lost a lot of blood. While my sister did that, I used an emergency communication device to call for help. But it was too late. By the time her bleeding stopped, she'd already lost too much blood. If your theory is true, this means she just lied in her testimony. She's holding something back. She definitely saw more than she's letting on. I just need to prove that somehow. Mr. Cuthbert, you may begin your cross-examination. Maybe something on Janice, for her being Two-Faced or something. I and J are pretty similar. Okay, and they are twins, and they do have different personalities, so maybe... Okay, and of course, we're always pressing everything. We're never not pressing anything. Where were you two coming from? We came from the kitchen. We were taking a break after the lunch rush. The cafeteria was on the west side of the academy, so that made sense. What did you see in the classroom, Miss Ionis? Did you notice anything else strange in the lecture hall? Well, there was that terrible smell. It was awful. I almost couldn't see because of how much I was tearing up. It makes sense. Aside from Bellwether, that smell was the most notable thing in that room. It would have been hard to notice anything else. She tried to help her? Miss Ionis, how exactly did your sister try to help Miss Bellwether? What? Oh, I slipped up. My sister used first aid to try and stop the bleeding. I see. Could you please add that detail to your testimony? Yeah, sure. She used first aid and applied pressure to her wounds to stop the bleeding. Your sister knows how to use a first aid kit? Yeah, it was covered in our training when we first started working there. With all the nobles around, I guess the headmaster wanted to make sure we were prepared. A device? It's a communication device for use in an emergency. I see. So who did you contact? I wasn't sure, honestly. I could hear a lot of people talking on the other end. That particular device broadcasts to the headmaster's office and the City Watch barracks. I imagine that's why the headmaster was able to activate the lockdown so quickly. I see. I see. That must have been a difficult experience for both of you. It was especially hard on my sister. I think she blames herself for not being able to save her. She seemed sincere when she said that. I didn't catch any dissonant thoughts through the eye either. I've mentally auto-corrected Valentina to Valencia, which, what have I become? You have become a narrator / proclamator in a Shakespeare play. So, congrats. Honestly, her testimony makes a lot of sense. It's hard to figure out what parts she might be lying about. There has to be a contradiction here somewhere. Your theory is that Valentina saw someone use mend wounds on Bellwether. You should focus on the statement that describes how they both interacted with her. Okay, so we uncovered this one. So we gotta find, she used first aid and applied pressure to the wounds to stop the bleeding. Oh, that's a weird bug. So, we can access Bellwether's plan like this, but if we go over to Walls' Spell Compendium and press left, it just unselects, but then when we press left again, or press left twice, it'll go up to Jan's statement. Very interesting. Okay, Bellwether's plan told us that she was planning to fire all the academy staff and replace them with arcane constructs. That's not anything. Headmaster activated the academy's lockdown system in response to having a call from security. Well, that's interesting because this says that he got a call from security, but he didn't. If this statement is true, because she said that she called them about it. We'll keep this one in mind, but I'm not necessarily sold on it. We know how the system's lockdown works. Reputation. That's not it. 30 minutes before the Giannis twins found the body, Bellwether walked past Jan in the West Wing hallway. He was in her path, so she shoved him out of the way. After that, she knocked over a vase and shattered it. Even though Jan didn't say anything to her, she yelled at him to be quiet. After this interaction, she walked into Lecture Hall 2B. I don't know if that has anything. The body was discovered in Lecture Hall 2B by Valentina and Valerie Giannis, 2 members of the kitchen staff. According to Orem White, they're being hyperactive during questioning. I don't think that says anything. The Lecture Hall thing has nothing there. Spoken. Is this a red herring? Is there a red herring here? I guess it would have to be the idea that I'm thinking about this from the wrong angle. So to them, they saw a wound that needed to be worked on, but yet the body had nothing, had no damages to it. So they're admitting to seeing a damaged body, which should not have been possible because, of course, we found it damaged. So someone would have had to heal it before the healers came here. So the autopsy report, no signs of cuts or bruising. It's got to be this one. Witness. What is the meaning of this? What? Why are you looking at me like that? Maybe I can elaborate, Miss Giannis. You weren't present in the gallery earlier, were you? No, I was waiting in the lobby. Lady Steelwind told me to wait there. I considered myself lucky. This wouldn't have been nearly as easy if Valentina had seen my cross-examination of Orem. Of Oirum. That's another misspelling. But the first time we saw that was because of Weird Glitch Lady, and the Weird Glitch Lady is the one who did it twice. So I'm not positive that this is just actual misspelling, like an honest mistake. We're being seeded something, and I don't like it. Hey, Neon, how's it going? Glad to see you. How's your evening going? You see, Miss Giannis, one key element of the case is that the body didn't have any wounds on it. Ooh, background change. All right, what are we changing our background to, Neon? Yeah, so that begs the following question. How did Valerie apply first aid when there shouldn't have been any wounds on the body? What? Oh no, did I screw up? But I saw that wound on her. What happened? Dude, I love Sacks of Opportunity. This is good music. I am going to have to pause it momentarily because we are going to change the background of my card. Goodbye, Des Rook, you silly goofball. Do you know the TCG version of Gear Breed has Bastard Uncensored? What? Oh, cause like it's talking about a bastard sword. Is that what it is? Gear Breed. No Gear Breed on the computer. Yeah, but we can fix that. We just got to go to ygoprodec.com, the home of the highest resolution card art images. Folks, if you are making any kind of Yu-Gi-Oh content and you need card art images, ygoprodec.com is the place to go to find your JPEGs. It's good. Gear Breed. Here we go. Let's get that here. Put that right there. And just like that, we now have the horniest background I've ever had here. Because boy, when the gear gets together, they go at it. Go Golden Nova. The geared one. Which I'm putting geared one because if I put the breeded one, I will never hear the end of it. You have to try a little harder than that. So this game takes more from Apollo Justice. I'm seeing Wanda's emotion symbols. Yeah, so the main character's Eye of Horus is like a combination of Apollo and Athena's mechanics, which is mwah. DS Era, one of the heroines is one of the magical not... Wait. But we're fighting the magical Nazis, so why is there a heroine? I'm very confused, Dinah. Is this indie? Yeah, this is an indie game. The only kinds of games that I can stand playing nowadays because of the climate, the environment. Okay. There's clearly something amiss here, but I'm afraid I don't fully understand the implications of this. Are you accusing the witness of committing perjury, Mr. Cuthbert? When someone lied, they kept it as close to the truth as possible while changing minute details. In her thoughts, Valentina said that she was sure she saw a wound on Bellwether. Oh, wait, gotta get the chat up. Hey, no. I need to get you on some SRW, to be honest about it. SRW. What am I asking about right now? What am I opening the door to? I asked about SRW. She also mentioned that Valerie was the one who tried to save the professor. I knew that someone... Oh, Super Robot Wars. Okay, yeah. I've seen some of that. It looks fun. I knew that someone had cast healing magic on the body. That was why the wounds had disappeared. If the wounds disappeared after the twins discovered the body, that could only mean one thing. The witness was lying, Your Honor, but not about everything. Valerie Ionis did try to save the victim's life by addressing her wounds, but she didn't use first aid. She used magic. Oh, how did he figure it out? I'm sorry, Mr. Cuthbert, but your theory is completely flawed. I think Fire Emblem with anime robots is so good. It's like the only game I get relatively excited for. Hell yeah. It's a crazy combo of cool robots fighting shit. Like that's a good idea. How so, Steelwind? Well, it's quite simple. We've already verified that neither of the sisters is a mage. What? Wait, how could you be so sure? During the investigation, we had both the Ionis sisters attuned to a spell compendium. Whoa, sick. Watch streak. Hell yeah. 3 streams? No, you're the most dedicated Nova viewer I know. Thank you so much. It's standard procedure for the Inquisition when interviewing witnesses. Then that means neither of the Ionis sisters could attune to a compendium. That's right. The Inquisition checked us both. We're not mages. That was close. Ugh. Was I wrong about Valerie being a mage? No, that couldn't be right. How did he figure it out? Her thoughts said, how did he figure it out? That meant that I was on the right track. Valerie had to be the mage I was looking for. Celeste, is it possible for a mage to hold a spell compendium and avoid attuning to it? No, it just needs to be on their person. When I was arrested, the Inquisition also made me attune to one of their spell compendiums. They were really careful to make sure that I did the attunement correctly. There's no way a mage could avoid it with them watching you. Right. Commander White might have been negligent sometimes, but even he wasn't that careless. Trying to support the orbital platform wherever I can. Well, you're doing a fantastic job, Neon. Thank you so much for being a great supporter and an even greater friend. And because of the green screen, it now looked like I took a big chug of all that breeding, so let the fan fictions flow. Now, if you're done, I do believe that you've exhausted all your options. Oh, wait, I'm still not done cross-examining this witness. What could you possibly hope to glean from her testimony? My favorite part of the Eye of Horus is how carefully we enunciate it. Valentina was stressed out enough to see her thoughts, but I couldn't exactly say that I was planning to read her mind, and at that point, I felt that I was already testing the judge's patience. There's one key element of her testimony that the court is overlooking. I have a right as an attorney to complete my cross-examination. Your Honor, the defense is clearly trying to buy time. I might be compelled to agree with you. However, I'll also admit that some elements of the witness's testimony are quite peculiar. I will allow the defense to continue their cross-examination. That was close. But know that this is your last chance, Mr. Cuthbert. If you produce nothing substantial with your questioning, I will pass my verdict. Of course, Your Honor. All right, it was all or nothing. If I couldn't find anything by reading her mind, this whole case was finished. Witness, please give your testimony once more. Okay. Like I said, my sister and I saw Miss Bellwether bleeding on the ground. We rushed over to her. I was definitely surprised when I saw her like that. Now that you mention it, I don't know if I saw any wounds on her, but I definitely saw blood. I couldn't go back on that now. I just need to play dumb. My sister tried to save her, but she didn't use magic. Valerie, you're too kind-hearted. We're not mages. Both of us held that book the knights gave us. I was caught off guard when they asked us. They almost found us out. The commander was watching us the whole time. He can confirm it. It's a good thing that we're twins, or else that trick wouldn't have worked. So, she's not a mage. The one we're talking to is not a mage. What are we gonna do? They have pretty hard proof that Valerie isn't a mage. Valerie is the mage we're looking for. I'm sure of it. I'm just not sure why they felt the need to lie to the Inquisition. And more importantly, how did they trick the Inquisition? Cross-examination! Okay. She's a Japanese girl that was forced to become a magical Nazi because her grandpa was one of his descendants. And his descendants are forced to also be magic Nazis, so she's the heroine who turns sides. Okay, but like being a Nazi, unless there's like a brainwashing element to the situation, and even then, you know, that's even questionable if you are a Nazi at that point, if you're being compelled to. But you can't just like be a Nazi not by choice. So you can see where we would be confused that you keep calling the main character a magical Nazi if they are not aligned with the ideology. It's kind of an important factor of the title. Okay, let's see what pressing gets us. That matched the details of her previous testimony. There was nothing suspicious there, but I had no reason to doubt that. Oh, well, this just do the same pressing for. Sounds like you're brag-talking on her previous testimony. I'm not. I guess I just assumed she was wounded because of all the blood. How was I supposed to know she didn't have any wounds? There was so much blood. Her thoughts implied that she was lying, but her logic was sound. I should look at the thoughts that appeared during her other statements. If Valerie wasn't the one who closed her wounds, how did she try to help her? I don't know. She might have been looking for an open wound to apply first aid to. But if we assume that you're telling the truth, there wouldn't be any wounds to find. My client would have already closed them to confound the investigation. I'm telling you, I don't know. She's pleading ignorance of what happened. They almost found them out. Can I assume that this book was an unattuned spell compendium? Yes, the Inquisition has several of them. It's standard procedure to have witnesses attuned to them. But doesn't the kingdom require that mages register? Why don't you just cross-reference those records with the witness's name? For whatever reason, many mages among the common folk avoid registering with the kingdom. As a result, many of them choose to hide their abilities. To be fair, we consider Nazi to be the ideology because of our modern-day context in the war era. Nazi was more of a side with an associated ideology. Calling a German soldier at the time a Nazi and all that. That's true. But it does not seem like that's the context of the game, unless I am mistaken. The game Dies Irae. Okay. It was a good thing that they're twins. Did you pull some kind of trick to deceive the Inquisition while attuning, Messianus? Of course not. We know that lying to the Inquisition would get us in trouble. Why would either of us try to risk like that? Living as an unregistered mage is a serious crime. If Valerie was a mage, then you would have been charged with fraud right then and there. Yeah, but we already proved that we're not mages. The eye seems to differ, but I need something else to convince the court. I need to think this through. This wasn't like a normal cross-examination. Nearly all of her thoughts were suspicious and contrary to her testimony. What I needed to do was find the thought that gave me a thread to pull on. In that case, I would need to find the thought that implied how the twins tricked the commander. Once I found that, I could interpret it with without the need for evidence. Okay, so it's this last one. Objection! Messianus, your thoughts betray you. What? I found the thought. They must have done something to trick Orm, but what? It must have happened when he was interrogating them. Orm collected their statements. How are they holding up? I imagine they'd be rattled after discovering a body. From what he said, they were extremely tense, but I suppose that's to be expected. He told me that they couldn't sit still. He found it difficult to take their statements because of that. They couldn't sit still. That implied they were moving somehow. She also thought it was a good thing that they were twins. How did the twins trick the Inquisition? This means that their so-called trick wouldn't have worked otherwise. Maybe. Valentina switched places with Valerie. Of course, they switched places. Valentina attuned to the first spell compendium, then she pretended to be Valerie to attune to the second one. They even wear the same uniform. No wonder Commander White couldn't tell the difference between them. Messianus, there's something I want to confirm. During the investigation, both you and Valerie attuned to a spell compendium. Yeah, the Knight watched us do it. And how did he have you do this? Did you both attune to those compendiums at the same time? Or did you attune one after another? What? I fail to see how this makes any difference, Mr. Cuthbert. Yes, I agree. The spell compendiums would work regardless of what order they went in. You may not be aware of this, Your Honor, but Valentina and Valerie Ionis are identical twins, which means that their physical appearance are nearly identical to each other. They also work in the same kitchen, which means that they must have been wearing the same uniform during questioning. If Commander White didn't have them attuned at the same time, what would stop the twins from switching places with each other? This is clearly nothing but baseless conjecture. Orm wouldn't fail at such a basic task. Really, Prosecutor Steelwind? Do you find it hard to believe that Commander White would fail at a task like this? Even so, the gift of magic is inherited through bloodlines. For a pair of genetically identical twins, it would be impossible for one twin to be a mage while the other is not. Has that been proven, Steelwind? Because as far as I'm concerned, that is baseless conjecture. Whoa, wait a minute, this is crazy. We didn't trick the Inquisition. I keep telling you, my sister and I aren't mages. Then prove it, Messianus. Bring in your sister, and we'll have you attuned to 2 spell compendiums at the same time. No. Order in the court. It's clear that we won't get anywhere unless we test the defense's theory. Bailiff, escort Valerie Ionis to the stand and bring 2 unattuned spell compendiums. They both have their hands on those compendiums for the last 10 minutes. There's no way they can fake it in front of this many people. All right, it was the moment of truth. I could only hope that my theory was correct. No. Did he seriously? What is it, Prosecutor Steelwind? What I see is the commander seeking new employment in the near future. It appears the defense was correct. Valentina Ionis isn't a mage, but Valerie Ionis is. What's more, Valerie Ionis' compendium contains the Mend Wounds spell, which makes the defense's theory entirely plausible. Please, just allow me to explain. We should allow you to explain what, exactly? You're an unregistered mage, and you and your sister have made a mess of the investigation and this trial. How would you know what it's like, Lady Steelwind? What? Do you think we don't know who you are? You're not like us. You don't have to hide. But it's okay. This whole situation has gotten out of hand. I didn't think hiding it would cause so much trouble, but I won't let someone go to prison because of me, even if he is a necromancer. Please let me testify about what I saw. I'll tell all of you what really happened that day. Your Honor, I believe we may all benefit from hearing Miss Ionis' testimony. Very well, but understand that there will be repercussions for your active witness. I know. No, you see, one of the heroines is a magical Nazi, not the protagonist. The heroine is not by choice. She was forced to do it because of a deal her brother made, so that she's not a Nazi. Because she's forced to be one. Also, it takes place in the 2000s. If that means anything. No, you're good. It's just like so. But like, if you're forced to be a Nazi, then I mean, I guess we're getting into esoterics on that one, and it doesn't super matter, so I think we've kind of put the Dies Irae issue to rest, and the only way to get more context on that is to just look it up and figure it out for yourself. But I would argue that if something was forcing you to be a Nazi, then you weren't really a Nazi if that wasn't like if you were being compelled. But that's just me. In the realm of fiction that involves magic abilities that can compel one's ideology. My sister and I were walking in the hallway from the kitchen to the west exit. That's when I suddenly spotted the professor lying in a pool of blood in a nearby classroom. Valentina used a communication device to call for help while I tried to save her. I saw that she was bleeding, so I cast Mend Wounds on her to close her wounds. But it was too late. I closed the hole in her chest, but she was already dead. I get the feeling the magical Nazi tag is muddying things. I think the magical Nazi thing is muddying things a little bit. I think maybe it's causing a little bit of issue with the communication and the clarity of it, just a little bit. There was a hole in her chest. Your Honor, as you can clearly see from the witness's testimony, the trace of necromancy was left by the witness, not my client. What's more, it's clear that there was a physical wound on the body. I see. Well, his words trailed off. He clearly didn't want to pass a verdict with no clear culprit, but he had no choice. The case against Wallace was predicated on Bellwether being killed by necrotic blight. With Valerie's testimony, the prosecution didn't have a shred of evidence implicating him. Very well. The court sees no reason to prolong this trial. With these new developments, the court has no choice but to find Wallace Nightgrave... Objection! I think the fuck not, actually. Okay, this is the German soldier argument. Yeah, I guess I am not considering the fact that... I'm not considering the fact that, yeah, how would you... If that was their factional name, how would you, call them that without also implying an ideology? So I guess what you're talking about here... Now, normally, your work of fiction would solve this by giving them an additional name for their organization, like how Marvel has Hydra, that you use when you want to say someone is aligned with that. But in this case, I see where the confusion is coming from, and I have contributed to that myself, and for that I apologize. Anyway, back to my bad area Steelwind affectation. I believe the court is ignoring one key detail of the witness's testimony. And what would that be, Miss Steelwind? Let's re-examine the witness's testimony. Valentina used a communication device to call for help while I tried to save her. I saw that she was bleeding, so I cast Mend Wounds on her to close her wounds, but it was too late. I closed the hole in her chest, but she was already dead. The communication device that Valentina Ionis used logs the time of day during each use. From this log, we know that Valentina used the device at 3:04 p.m. This was an hour after the time of death. Where are you going with this? Mr. Cuthbert, there was a witness who saw the victim before the body was found, Jan Hughes. He, along with another witness, spotted Bellwether walking in the hallways before the body was found. I was cleaning the halls. Bellwether knocked over a vase. There were shards and dirt everywhere. Wait, you saw the professor before the twins arrived? Yeah. Like I said, she broke the vase right in this hallway. It was probably 20 to 30 minutes before the twins found the body. 20 to 30 minutes before the body was found. Do you see the discrepancy, Mr. Cuthbert? Oh, wait, that couldn't be right. Bellwether died more than an hour before the body was found. So how did Jan see her half an hour after her death? I wonder, Mr. Cuthbert, how could one make a dead body move and walk around? No! We didn't just arrest the defendant based on those traces of necromancy. We arrested him because only one person in the school could have animated her corpse. An undead created within the Imperial Academy? How reprehensible! We love the functionists from IDW. That is a great word for a terrible organization, the functionists. My ass when I have a whole group of utilitarians. Yeah, we call ourselves the functionists. That's ridiculous. She had a hole in her chest when the twins found her. Jan Hughes would have noticed that. Animate corpse stops the flow of blood, so she wouldn't have tracked blood anywhere. The defendant is also proficient with illusion magic. He could have easily used an illusion spell to hide the undead Bellwether's wounds. Oh, piss off. But another party could have easily used illusion magic to disguise themselves as the victim. If that were true, how did they move the body to the classroom? Miss Steelwind, if your theory is true, it would mean the murder occurred elsewhere. Would the Inquisition happen to know where? Regrettably, we do not. Then the prosecution's case against my client is still faulty. You can't convict my client without more evidence. I must agree with Mr. Cuthbert. With these new developments, the court sees it fit to suspend the trial for the time being. We'll give the Inquisition time to investigate these unknowns. Court proceedings for this case will resume tomorrow morning. Court is adjourned. Alright, we are doing a day 2. Hey, you feeling okay? A body was seen moving around an hour after death. It clearly wasn't Bellwether, or at the very least, she wasn't alive when Jan ran into her. So what was it? Tyrion Steelwind was right about one thing. There was illusion magic involved, but which spell was it? Could it have been illusory disguise? Tyrion! What? You've been pacing around the lobby since the trial ended. Sorry, I was just thinking about Steelwind's theory. It's a little creepy when you think about it. Do you really think someone tried to turn the professor into an undead? I don't think so. The prosecution's case is hinged on one key point, that Wallace was the only high-level necromancer nearby. We have to assume that he's the only person capable of using that type of magic. But then, how was she walking around? I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. It's a given that Wallace didn't animate the body. No matter what they did, someone had to have used an illusion. Aren't these spells that can create freestanding illusions, not just disguises? I honestly don't know. We need to talk to someone who knows about that type of magic. Didn't Eris say that she was studying illusion magic? She might be able to give us a lead. Is that really a good idea? What do you mean? What if she's the one who created the illusion? What? I was detecting fear from her again. Celeste, are you afraid of Eris? No. I saw it this morning, too. You always get really anxious whenever she's around. Oh. I didn't mean to be so obvious about it. What's wrong? Sorry, it's not based on anything real, but... how do I explain this? You already know that I was working as a mercenary before this. When you do that kind of work, you build up an instinct to sense danger. You kind of have to if you want to stay alive. Sorry, I never knew. Tyrion, I've fought literal monsters and barely escaped with my life. But when I'm near Eris, none of those creatures come even close. I get this feeling. It's like I'm in the front of a predator that I get this feeling. It's like I'm in front of a predator that I couldn't ever hope to beat. Every instinct I have tells me to run whenever she's close by. Really? But she doesn't seem that dangerous, just a little mischievous. I know. I think maybe I'm just anxious or something. I should know better than anyone not to judge people by how they look. Sorry, forget I said anything. If you think we should talk to her, then we should do that. Celeste's instincts had never steered me wrong before. She'd always been reliable, and if Eris was making her feel this way, that must have meant something. That's all the more reason for us to talk to her. But aside from that, there was also something else that the prosecutor said. Mr. Cuthbert, there was a witness who saw the victim before the body was found, Jan Hughes. He, along with another witness, spotted Bellwether walking in the hallways before the body was found. There was another witness who saw Bellwether walking around. Right, Jan probably isn't the most reliable witness. He was probably only half awake when he saw her. But do you think Steelwind will tell us who that witness was? We still have that deal with her. We won't lose anything by asking. Honestly, that's still bothering me. What is? Why she was so interested in my biological parents. It's none of her business. That was strange. She traded information about the investigation for it, too. Maybe she thinks you're her long-lost sister. Oh, I never even thought of that. Oh, I don't know. Wouldn't that mean I'm the daughter of Lucio Steelwind? I think my dad would have thrown a fit if he ever heard that. You are pretty good at fighting. That actually makes a lot of sense. I guess I like Arya, and I've always wished I had a sister. But I don't want to think about this right now. Maybe you can ask her when you're at that brunch you strong-armed her into. Oh, I almost forgot! I can't believe I'm gonna meet Altheris Duskweaver! Anyway, we still have a long investigation ahead of us. And we need to start by talking to Steelwind about that witness. Yeah, we'll say it here. The faction is called the Longinus Drazen Orden. Longinus Drazen Orden. But they're a subgroup of Nazis. Also, one of the members is Reinhard Heydrich, who was an actual Nazi. Oh, cool. So we're bringing historical Nazis into this. As a bastard can't confer, this is a very rude question. How rude? Val, you're back! Where's the produce for tonight's dinner? The grocers all said something about said someone already collected the deliveries. Do you think someone stole them? I bet word about the trial has gotten out already. They're definitely not going to sell to us anymore. Ugh, that dumb attorney just had to go and ruin everything. I don't know. I was watching the trial. Do you really think that boy killed Catherine? Of course he did. He's a necromancer, for crying out loud. If what they said was true, I'm one too. You know that's not the same thing. You only use healing magic. Come on, help me prep some of the leftover meat. I bet we can still make some soup out of it. I hate this. Yeah, I know. The students are totally going to complain about it. No, I hate magic. Sure, whatever, Val. What? What was... What? What was that? What? You can't... What? Tyrion? Oh, what are we doing here? I'm not sure. For some reason, I felt drawn to this place. I was supposed to make my way back to the academy, but I suddenly found myself here. It was strange, but I couldn't even remember how we'd arrived here. Wait, is that Eris? Celeste pointed further into the cemetery. Eris was standing there in front of a gravestone. Actually, we gotta check this. That's her. Okay, that's her. That's gotta be her in this image. There's like a dream sequencing that Tyrion's been having, so this is... I had to confirm that. Okay. She was placing flowers on it and appeared to be chanting a short prayer. Well, we found her. We should probably talk to her later. It would be rude to disturb her now. As we were about to leave, Eris suddenly turned to face us. She was far away, but she clearly noticed us and was beckoning us over. Oh, hello there. Were you two looking for me? Sorry, we were looking for you, but we understand if you'd rather talk later. No, I was just finishing up here. Did you have something you wanted to talk to me about? Well, we wanted to ask you some questions about the case. That was my first time watching a court trial. You were truly remarkable. Thank you. Were you in the gallery? I've always enjoyed watching physical battles in the theater, but I see now that battles of wits can be just as entertaining to watch. Entertaining? Yeah, I know what you mean. You see, the odds are stacked against him, but then he suddenly pulls out this crazy deduction that makes the whole trial bad. I've never really thought of it like that, but I'm sure it's far more entertaining to be the one making the deductions. I'm not really sure what you mean. I practice law so that I can help those persecuted by the justice system. I don't really do it to entertain myself. But is that really true? Don't you find the experience even the least bit entertaining, Tyrion? I wouldn't really put it that way. You're far too modest. You save people from the clutches of death. To your clients, you might as well be a knight in shining armor. Earlier you said that you were studying illusion magic. I am. Did you want to ask me about the prosecution's theory? Yes, actually. How did you know? Disguising an undead with an illusion is definitely possible. As Lady Steelwind said, illusory disguise would be the perfect spell to use for that. What if someone created a freestanding illusion? We know that Wallace didn't animate and disguise the professor's corpse. So what if the illusion wasn't disguising anything? Maybe someone created a freestanding illusion of Bellwether walking around? For something like that, one would probably use major illusion. Alright, illusion. Meluso. It requires no gesture, it works while concentrating, and there is a concentration to it. Creates a three-dimensional illusion. The illusion can take the form of any object or creature that can be confined in a 10-foot cube. So that is a large creature for all of us tabletop heads out there. While concentrating, the caster can animate and move the image to a different location within range. The illusion is purely visual and can't be physically touched, which means that the thing that was knocked over or pushed, i.e. the Voss and Jan, rules major illusion out. What is it? I don't think major illusion is what we're looking for. Did you remember what Jan said? I was cleaning a mess in the hallways. Bellwether knocked over a vase, and there were shards and dirt everywhere. If the Bellwether that Jan saw was a major illusion, then she couldn't have knocked over that vase. Illusions created by that spell don't have any mass. I see. How perceptive of you. Aren't there any other illusion spells that have mass? No. All known illusion spells in Wyvern Guard can only recreate visual and auditory sensations. None of these spells can create something that someone can touch. So that means that someone disguised something to make it look like Bellwether? Why the look of suspicion, Celeste? Sorry, I wasn't... Calm yourself. I was only joking. I don't blame you for considering every possibility. In fact, I'm flattered you think I'm capable of pulling off such an elaborate ruse. Anyways, this does tell us one important thing. Wait, no, I did an opposite. It does tell us one important thing. What's that? The bellwether that Jan saw had a physical mass to it. It wasn't a freestanding illusion. It was someone disguised as her. Okay, so Jan's statement has been adjusted. The bellwether witnessed by Jan Hughes must have been disguised with an illusion. In addition to that, whatever he saw that day was physically there. It's quite a shame, isn't it? Eris looked pensively towards the gravestone. The name on the stone was Emily Grant, and her lifetime appeared to have been awfully short. She must have only been 12 years old when she died. Sorry for interrupting you. Was she someone you knew? I'm actually here on Wallace's behalf. Wallace knew her? Wallace joined the academy as part of a program run by Headmaster Edmund. At the time, the headmaster was reaching out to mages among the common folk. He had started a program to admit them to the academy through a scholarship program. Both Emily and Wallace were among those mages. Wow, that must have been an amazing opportunity for them. The truth is, neither of them actually cared about learning magic. The real problem was that Emily had a deadly illness. She and Wallace were poor orphans, and they obviously didn't have the resources to treat it. But if they enrolled in the academy would be obligated to give her medical treatment. The Imperial Academy teaches the best mages in the kingdom. They thought that curing her illness would be an easy task for the Academy's healers. But they were mistaken, I'm afraid. I'm sure you know this by now, but healing spells can only treat wounds. They can't cure illnesses. Emily's condition only got worse over the years, and eventually she succumbed to her illness. Wallace was furious. He didn't understand why the kingdom was outlawing magic that could save lives. And that's why he decided to learn it himself. Yes, the headmaster was inspired by Wallace's resolve. He gave him access to the Academy's forbidden tomes of necromancy, and with the headmaster's guidance, Wallace learned the spells that he knows today. So that's why it was supposed to stay a secret between him and the headmaster. Who saw that? What did she say? I didn't see what she said. There was the talk sprite change, and I didn't. the Wizard War copy pasta. Hell yeah. Shit, man, this Wizard War's fucked. I just saw a guy clap his hands together and say, "The 10 hells," or some shit, and everyone around him turned inside out, had their tibia explode, and then disappeared. The camera didn't even go over onto him. That's how common shit like this is. My ass is casting Frostbite and level 2 poison. I think I just heard power word scrunch. 2 groups over. Gotta get the fuck out of me. But I'm sure you know how that turned out. Well, is there anywhere we can move? Is there anything we can present? I don't think there's anything presentable right now. Yeah. Well, let's just go places and see who we can talk to and find. Oh, it's you, Mr. Cuthbert. Steelwind, what are you doing here? I once again came across Steelwind. Like yesterday, she was the only one in the room. But she was seriously carrying out... was she seriously carrying out the investigation alone here? Searching the classroom was one thing, but searching the entire library seemed a little ridiculous. After what happened at the trial yesterday, I decided it would be best to start my investigation here. Wallace was in the library for the entire morning. If she was insistent that he did it, that would probably be the best. This would probably be the best place. Actually, since I have you here, have you seen Eris Ilmata anywhere? It's my understanding that you've both acquainted with each other. Eris? What do you want with her? Heads up, Nova, a lot of work just dropped for your card. Like, is there cards and stuff for reacting? Oh. Well, guess we're waiting on Yu-Gi Org to update, because I don't see anything on there yet. Well, I'll keep a tab open for that. The power system of D&D really interests me because the final stages of it, you attain godhood. Also, there's two types of godhood. Hegemony, where your power changes the world around you, and transcendence, where instead of your power changing the world, it changes you. It's not for anything serious, mind you. It's just that oaf of a commander lost his spell compendium. Now we need her to produce another one for our records. If you see her, please let her know that we'd like to speak to her. We saw her earlier in the cemetery nearby, but I have no idea where she is now. Ugh. Once again, I have to compensate for that idiot's mistakes. Anyway, I was wondering if I could ask you some questions about the case. Very well. I suppose I still need to honor our deal from earlier. Controller. Have you any luck finding this? Finding the scene of the crime? Unfortunately, I haven't. From the witness's testimony, we have a rough idea of the route Bellwether took. But none of the rooms we've checked have any signs of a struggle. Why are you so sure that a struggle happened? I'm mainly basing that off of the honest sister's testimonies. Valerie, in particular, noticed that the bleeding came from a wound in her chest. Regrettably, the body's wounds were mended, so we can't determine what kind of weapon the murderer used. During the trial, you mentioned that another witness saw Bellwether walking around yesterday. Who is this person, and why haven't they been called to testify? I'm sorry, but I can't tell you that. Steelwood's posture tightened. Something was making her uneasy. You've been pretty transparent with your investigation so far. I have no obligation to justify myself to you. Nor do I have an obligation to help the opposition. Didn't we have a deal? Hiding information doesn't exactly seem fair to us. I believe I've given you plenty of information already. So, regardless of what I said before, the answer is no. Her family is dangerous. The Eye of Horus caught a stray thought from her. Her family is dangerous. What did she mean by that? Is there something about this witness's family that you're worried about? No. This could be a feint. I'm sorry, but you'll have to try harder than that if you want to bluff me. Why would she go to such lengths to hide one witness's identity? She was perfectly fine with revealing elements of the investigation yesterday. Maybe I needed to try looking somewhere else. Oh, we got a psychological profile going on. Yahoo! Okay, let's look somewhere else then. So, cemetery, is she still here? She is still here. Okay, the locker room was added to our list of things. We gotta go to the locker room. We simply have to go to the locker room. We spent some time wandering through the academy. That's when we overheard a conversation from a nearby room. From what I understand, Miss Steelwind has already moved the investigation elsewhere. How long must I wait before I can retrieve my things? Sorry, old-timer. Orders are orders. Nothing comes in or out till the case is over and done with. You're only like 10 years younger than me. You can't call me old. Blackmail, far more interesting and famous than beige mail. Commander White, and the headmaster too? Oh, hello, Mr. Cuthbert. Hey, kid. In any case, there are other matters I must attend to. Please inform me when I can reclaim my things. Sure thing. It looked like Commander White was standing guard in front of this locker room, but it didn't look like he's conducting any sort of investigation. Was he here on Steelwind's orders? He might be able to tell us who the secret witness was. Ooh. What was the headmaster talking to you about? He has some items stored in one of the faculty lockers. The problem is, Steelwind said no one gets in or out of this room. Except for Her and you two, I guess. She won't even let the other knights in here. Really? Is that normal? Nope. But things rarely are when she's calling the shots. I just go with it. Why would she give me access to the crime scene if she wasn't even letting the knights in? Interesting. Now, who put their name into the Goblet of Fire? Tyrion! I don't know what her deal is, but she's been acting strange lately. She's been really paranoid, that girl. Frankly, I can't tell what's going through her head. You mentioned that the prosecutor had been paranoid lately. Do you think it has something to do with this case? Nah, started way before that. Lately, she's been using the Inquisition to investigate a lot of non-magical homicides. What? Wouldn't it be easier to work with the relevant law enforcement for that? I don't know why, but she's convinced that these cases have magic involved. But every time we scan one of those crime scenes, nothing turns up. Gotta say though, if it weren't for the scans, I might actually agree with her. Why do you say that? These homicides, I haven't seen anything like them. They're probably some of the most screwed up cases I've ever handled, and I've seen some things. For one of those cases, we had ourselves a disgruntled spouse. She found out that her man was going around town with a barkeep. You catch my meaning. Wait, what do you mean? They were making the beast with two backs. What? He was two-timing her. I don't know this lingo, Orem. Oh my god, he was a married man having sex with another woman. That's great. That's great. That's good. Oh, okay. I understand now. Anyway, you know what the spouse does? She stalks the poor woman. She started leaving threatening notes all around where she worked. The barkeep told the city watch all about what was happening, but no matter how much they staked out the tavern, they could never catch her. Then one day, the barkeep arrived home. Little did she know, the spouse was waiting there for her. The poor lady never had a chance. Then, to tie the whole thing together, the spouse waits for her husband to get home. She cooks him a big meat pie using the barkeep's remains. Oh, great. Subtlety is for cowards. It adds a little spice, but when you're dealing with someone as oblivious and asexual as Tyrion Cuthbert, sometimes bluntness is the best course of action. Wow, that story is pretty... I know. Steelwind thinks someone's developed a new type of magic that can control people's minds, and these homicides are some kind of sick test run. Magic that can affect people's minds? Wouldn't Mage Blight make more sense? Mage Blight? When a mage overuses their magic, it can have some pretty bad consequences on their mind. They temporarily lose grip of reality and begin seeing things that aren't there. When a mage becomes like that, it almost never ends well. They basically become psychotic. They enter a frenzy and begin firing spells randomly, which only makes it worse. I've seen my fair share of Mage Blight cases, and this wasn't like that. Not all the perps were mages, and the ones that were didn't even use their spells. One thing was that each of the perps almost seemed to wake up after we arrested them. All of them said things like, "It wasn't me," or "I didn't have a choice." They didn't have a choice. What could that mean? I doubt it means anything. Sometimes people can't face the things they've done. It's easier to say that you had no control than to take responsibility. Ew. He enjoyed eating her out just days ago. Why would it change? By God, I've just noticed he's got a full stack of age. Yeah, he's very 60. He's waiting for that 60 is in demand meme to come around, and it's going to be a bit. I wondered if I could mislead the commander into revealing who the secret witness is. During the trial, Steelwind mentioned that someone other than Jan Hughes saw Bellwether walking around. Have you seen them around? We wanted to speak with them. Nice try, kid. It was worth a shot. Honestly, I couldn't tell you if I wanted to. I don't think anyone other than Steelwind knows who this witness is. I sure as hell don't. What? She was even hiding it from the Inquisition commander? Why was she being so secretive? It seemed like the commander didn't know who this secret witness was either. This isn't getting us anywhere. Steelwind's behavior is strange, though. Perhaps we could try analyzing her behavior. If I did that, I might be able to figure out why she's acting so strangely. Let's take a moment to work through this. Steelwind's behavior has been strange this time around. She's hiding elements of the case even from the commander. Anyone can tell that she doesn't have much faith in him. I'm standing right here. But this is the first time I've seen her hide key details of a case from him. What's motivating Steelwind to keep secrets? What's motivating Nova to breathe food down his windpipe? Let's figure out that case. There has to be a reason why she's being so secretive. It's the paranoia. Her actions must be driven by paranoia. She's been hoarding information about the case, after all. There's only one reason why she wouldn't utilize the Inquisition like she usually does. It's because she doesn't trust them. I hate to say it, but that doesn't really surprise me. She's always been standoffish with us. But there is one exception. Who has Steelwind trusted for this case? There are individuals whom she's trusted more than the Inquisition during this case, and that is Tyrion and Celeste. She's let us investigate the crime scenes without any restrictions. Yeah, I didn't notice that until now. Does she really trust us that much? I don't think personal trust is the reason. Why does Steelwind trust us this time? We don't usually interact with her, and she's worked with the Inquisition on plenty of cases that we weren't even involved in. So...
Maybe.
Wallace, Tyrion is capable of using magic. No. Tyrion isn't capable of using magic? That can't be it. The choices are Tyrion, Headmaster, Steelwind, and Wallace. I don't think it has anything to do with Steelwind, so it's got to be Tyrion. Isn't a member of the nobility. Okay, no. Inquisition? No, there's a key difference between us and the Inquisition. We didn't answer anyone, and we weren't subject to corruption from the nobility. So why would that make Steelwind trust us this time around? Isn't controlled by the nobility? There we go. Those were pretty close, but we got it. But they did warn us when we started doing this that things could be close, but not. But we had to find the exact one. Steelwind doesn't know much about us, but she does know that we aren't prone to noble corruption. Right. You did just indict a noble last week. Meanwhile, the Inquisition usually bends to the nobility's whims. Can't argue with you there. Using my intuition, I can tell that she's worried about the witness's family. And if she's worried about corruption from the nobility, that can only mean one thing. The witness is a noble. The witness has to belong to a noble family. That's why she's so worried of interference. But we're obviously not going to do anything corrupt. Why is she hiding the witness's identity from us? I remember that thought I saw through the eye. Her family is dangerous. She's worried about our safety. Yeah, I guess harassing a noble could put you in danger, but I'm the protege of the infamous Ruby Timora. Yeah, it's not as if we weren't already on the nobility's bad side. I'm sure House Pierce still has it out for us. They're definitely the ones sending those rogues into your house. What? Don't worry about it. I've got it under control. This can only mean that the family we're dealing with is even more powerful than House Pierce. If the prosecutors worry of them, they must be as powerful as the Steelwinds. Wait. Don't tell me you think we're dealing with another one of the four pillars. I have to ask about that. I always hear you and Ruby say it a lot, but who are the Four Pillars? It's a name people use for the four most powerful noble houses. They're led by the dukes and duchesses. House Freyga, House von Sanctus, House Sybil, and of course, House Steelwind. The four of them stand at the top of Wyvernguard's hierarchy. So Steelwind is one of them. Four pillar families. What is it? Steelwind's paranoia all started after she investigated this room. We were at the crime scene and she left to follow a lead. But an hour later, she came back to the lecture hall and basically booted everyone out. Her behavior changed after investigating this room. That means that she found something here, and that something might point to a family from the Four Pillars. The commander shifted slightly. You know, Steelwind's orders say I can't snoop around here, but you two, on the other hand, don't worry, just leave it to us. I have some school records that say which lockers belong to which student. You can use it to tell which locker you're looking at. Alright, are we done talking? Okay, it's time to examine. Oh, there's an arcane construct in the back. It's probably here to aid the students. Anyways, I don't think it's relevant to our investigation. Just in case, I made a note of it in my runestone. Construct in the locker room that appears to be inactive. I used the legend that the commander gave me. I looked carefully across the list to find the names of some notable students. Oh, hey, there's three of them, but Wallace Nightgrave is one of them. I opened the locker with Wallace's ID number. Inside, I found a bottle of fragrant liquid and something that looks like a makeup kit. Huh? Why does Wallace have this stuff? It did seem strange, but it wasn't my place to judge. I should take a look through the other lockers. I used the legend the commander gave me. Carefully across the... Okay, Miriam Freyga. I opened the lock for Miriam Freyga's ID number. Inside, I found several stacks of worn-out textbooks and notebooks. Wait a minute. These notebooks all have Wallace's name on them. I opened the notebook and quickly scanned through its pages. It appeared to be notes on the art of necromancy. These were Wallace's notebooks. But why are they in Miriam Freyga's locker? Did she steal his things? What was going on here? I began taking all the textbooks and notebooks one after another. The locker was really cramped, and then I noticed a stain near the back of it. I quickly took everything out to get a better look at it. What? I think this is dried blood. Wait, Celeste, scan it for traces. No, there aren't any traces on it. Okay, there's a stain of blood inside the locker with Miriam Freyga's ID number. The blood does not have any traces of magic on it. Uh-oh! Were the books placed there to hide it, I wonder? In fact, if they're trying to cram it all full, then the reason why Walls has weird stuff is because they probably swapped places. Also, it might not have been Wallace who did it, because they're our client, so it must have been someone else. Jaden von Sanctus. I opened the locker with Jaden Van Sanctus's ID number. Inside, I found several bottles of some kind of transparent lotion. There's nothing but lotion in here, and also a distinct smell. Oh. I wonder why a student would need this much lotion. I took one of the bottles to inspect it more closely. Wait, Tyrion, don't touch those with your hands! From the label, it appears to be some kind of sanitizing liquid. It's a little strange, but it doesn't seem to be related to the case. No, Tyrion, you can't go around touching the students' lube! They're getting slick with it! I opened the locker with Warren Shibble's ID number. Inside, I found some textbooks and a neatly stacked deck of tarot cards. Oh, it's like those cards that fortune tellers use. I wonder if the student studies divination magic. But anyways, I don't think this is related to the case. We found a few things, but I can't really make sense of any of it. We should look at this from the prosecutor's perspective. Steelwind found something in one of the lockers. Whose locker had the most suspicious evidence? And that would be Miriam Freyga. We found some insanely suspicious things in Freyga's locker. It had Wallace's notebook and even some blood. But that blood is certainly strange. It implies that something bloody was stored there. It could only be the murder weapon. Do you think someone stole it? No, actually. I think it was Steelwind who took it. Oh, right. Aura mentioned that she investigated this room. She must have taken the murder weapon as evidence. But with that said, there's something else that's strange about Miriam Friega's locker. It had a lot of Wallace's possessions. It's possible that she really did steal these items from him, but it's more likely that this locker isn't actually hers. Remember what Wallace told us before? Sometimes the other students would steal the ID number off my locker and switch it with another student's. Oh, there's also that possibility. They thought it would be funny whenever the student got angry with me. So someone switched the nameplates? This means that this isn't Miriam Friega's locker, it's Wallace's. But that would mean that the bloody object came from Wallace's locker. It appears so. Alright. But if that's true, why didn't Steelwind present the bloody item during the trial? I proved that Bellwether was wounded before Valerie healed her. Wouldn't that have been the perfect time to present what she found? It was a bloody item found in the defendant's locker, after all. Right. That is weird. There was something more to it that, to this that I wasn't seeing, but what? I think we'll just have to ask Steelwind ourselves. Alright, well, I think we got everything that we can here. I guess quick presenting work. Bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. Okay. Alright, let's move. The foyer has got to say Tyrion Cuthbert, Tyrion and Celeste are my favorite attorney assistant duo in AA games, period. They're pretty good. They're pretty good. Okay, this is where we check in with her. Okay, Raython. Let's go check in with Wallace, see if Wallace got any deets for us. Does not have any deets for us. We present something. We found the blood in the locker. We know about this. Nothing here. I guess there's not that. Is there anything else that we can go to? Let's try the academy. Do we have the psych profile all built up? We should have enough information now. Let's have a talk with the prosecutor. Please just tell me what's wrong. Are you mad at me? I'm not mad, okay? Can we just get to work? The twins' voices rang out from the kitchen. They sounded like they were in an argument. You think they're okay? It sounds private. We shouldn't get involved. I guess you're right. I slowly closed the door to the library and kept my mind on the investigation. Fine. You want to know what I think? You don't get to say that you hate magic. Look at how many problems it's causing for us. Yeah, for this dumb job, none of this even matters for you. What? Those people from the church always say that mages are chosen by divine right. And they're right. You don't get to complain about being better than me, Val. I'm not better than you. Yes, you are, and I'm sick of pretending that you're not. You were helping Jan while I was jealous of how easy I thought his job was. You outed yourself as a mage trying to save Catherine's bloody Bellwether. Tina, that's not... I hate how much I'm holding you back. I know you. I know how hard you've been working in the library. You're destined for great things. Tina, I haven't learned anything. Come on, don't give me that. You've been heading straight to the library after work for years. Yeah, and I still haven't learned anything. What? I can't wrap my head around how it all works. I've been trying to for years. I don't understand ether. I don't understand spell formulas. It's like they're speaking another language. I can do magic, but I'm not like the students here. But you know healing magic. It's the most basic spell. Children in the theurgy program learned that in their first class. It took me years to even figure that out. Why didn't you ever tell me about this? Because magic is the only thing that I have. You're better than me at everything. What? I'm not. I'm always making mistakes and forcing you to clean up after me. We only have this job because you begged the headmaster to hire me with you. You're amazing. The students here are spoiled aristocrats and they love your food. I can't even fry an egg right. You're not the one holding us back. You really think my cooking is that good? I don't think I can live without eating your food every day. Remember when I was just learning to cook at the orphanage? We were just a pair of dumb kids, but you were there with me every step of the way. You were there for me. I would have never gotten this good if you weren't always with me. Tina, I'm sorry. I never told you that sooner. I could never do this without you. Neither could I. I'm sorry for being so stupid before. It's okay. I was also being... We should get started on that soup. Right. Can you help me grab all the leftover meat from the freezer? Oh, that's sweet. Ah, you're back. We discovered a few things during our investigation. Steelwind, are you acquainted with a student named Miriam Frigga? She shifted slightly. It was subtle, but I could see her discomfort. I underestimated him. I said it before, Mr. Cuthbert. I won't fall for such an obvious bluff. It's not a bluff, Steelwind, and I'll prove it using the evidence I've gathered. Meh, 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 meh. Okay, the psychological profile thing has not increased. Is it just like a present everything dealio? I already did that. What do you have us access to the crimes but not the Inquisition? They work under you, don't they? I simply trust you two. Are you trying to imply that I shouldn't? Oh, that was quick. Jesus. Well, glad we did that. Alright. Steelwind was paranoid, and for whatever reason, it was due to the involvement of Miriam Frigga. If I could convince her to reveal why she's being so secretive, she might give me more information. Start an argument with Arya Steelwind. Chess! I will say there isn't a character in the game that I hate. Okay, I hate some as person, but I love them as characters for the plot. Everyone in the game at least enjoy either as a person or as a character. That's good. I have not had like a I haven't had a Miss Oldbag situation with anyone yet, and that's good. Okay, psychological profile. Steelwind suspects that Miriam Frigga is involved in the case somehow. Miriam belongs to a pillar family, and casting suspicion on her could cause them to intervene. The prosecutor wants to avoid that outcome at all costs. That fear could be used against her. You've been behaving strangely, Steelwind. Even the Knights of the Inquisition have noticed. Just tell me the truth. Why are you being so paranoid? I'm not sure what you're trying to imply, Mr. Cuthbert. Nothing about my behavior has changed. I've prosecuted the defendant the same way I always have. Okay, always, huh? Is it this one? You've ordered the Knights to stay away from the crime scene, and you've even taken it upon yourself to conduct the investigation yourself. That is not normal behavior for a prosecutor. I took those actions because the Inquisition is incompetent. How could I possibly trust them with anything? The Knights are incompetent, but even you can see the value of delegation. During Celeste's case, you still delegated tasks to the Inquisition. You could have easily investigated the McCoy Tavern yourself. The Academy is huge. You wouldn't conduct your investigation this way unless you had a good reason. Then why don't you enlighten me? Why would I act in such a way? What would cause me to behave so strangely? Well, it's gotta be the Pillar families. You know that the Inquisition is corrupt and will bend to the nobility. So what would happen if a powerful noble were publicly involved in this case? With that noble's influence, they'd probably order the Inquisition to conceal their involvement. A high-profile noble is involved in this case, Steelwind. And I believe that noble is Miriam Frigga. Again with this, do you think you can bluff me by throwing out the names of random nobles? Not every noble is a malevolent criminal like Garrick Pierce. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. My investigation doesn't involve the Friggas. Nothing about this case has anything to do with House Frigga. Unless we have the evidence in the locker. Then how do you explain this blood droplet? Now, who would win in a Marvel vs. Capcom fight? Phoenix Wright or Tyrion Cuthbert? This is interesting because neither of them have magical abilities. Tyrion does have the Eye of Horus, though, so he can read Phoenix. And I'm going to say that he's very easy to read because he's a very emotive person and gets stressed out very easily. So I think he would have the edge in that, but in combat capabilities, who knows what they could actually bring to the table. Phoenix can flail running around across a burning bridge. Yeah, I guess he can also do that. The commander told us that you were following a lead in the locker room yesterday. We investigated the lockers of students from the 4 Pillar families, and we found stains of blood in a locker with Miriam Friega's ID number, and it was presumably left by a bloody object. The bloody object must have been taken by someone, and you became extremely paranoid after you found something in the locker room. If I had to guess, I'd say that you took the bloody object as evidence. And what evidence do you have to support these outrageous claims? What? The only thing you have is evidence of a bloodstain. There is a myriad of explanations for that. Everything else you mentioned is pure speculation. You can't prove that piece of evidence exists. I could have found any number of things in that room, or possibly nothing at all. Okay, so it's like the threatened thing, because if we involve the Pillar families, if you don't present what you found in the court, I'll have no choice but to pull the owner of that locker onto the stand. You found an object in the locker with Miriam Friega's nameplate on it. If you don't present what you found to the court, I'll have no choice but to pull the owner of that locker onto the stand. That's ridiculous. We both know that the locker in question belongs to Wallace Nightgrave. Can you unequivocally prove that, Steelwind? Because the way I see it, there's a lot of room for doubt here. Enough doubt for me to pull Lady Friega onto the witness stand. So Hobo Nick would be a lot harder. That's true. That's true. Older Nick, a bit more composed. A lot more composed, arguably. But if I had more context, maybe I wouldn't have to resort to that. Her brow furrowed for a bit. She was searching for a counter-argument, but she just exhaled in resignation. I'd finally gotten her. Flawless. Well played, Mr. Cuthbert. I suppose I don't have a choice, do I? Just so we're clear, I wasn't acting to protect the nobility. But I'll admit that Miriam Friga was the other witness that saw Bellwether that day. I see. I had some suspicions, but there's also another matter. Steelwind tensed once again. She was still hesitant. When I was investigating the body, I found this. Evidence of academic dishonesty. Hey, Quiet Kid Gaming, thank you for raiding in! Folks, we are playing some Tyrion Cuthbert, Attorney of the Arcane, a Phoenix Wright style visual novel where we've added magic into the mix, and it's pretty fun. How'd your stream? How'd it go? A tightly packed folder containing several documents. The documents contain evidence detailing multiple incidents of plagiarism, fraud, bribery of school officials, and various other offenses committed by Miriam Friga. Okay. So we found some motive, I see. Hope things are going well. Things are going fantastically. Thank you for swinging on by after your stream. What were you playing? What were you doing? What were you twitching about? What the? Looks like Miriam's been cheating. But why would Bellwether have something like this? From the way it's arranged in this folder, I think it might have been blackmail. Miriam Friga is considered a prodigy in the practice of conjuration magic. She's won a litany of awards, and she will most definitely graduate with honors. If these files were to reach the public, it would absolutely ruin her reputation. You think that the professor was trying to threaten her? It appears so. When I discovered this, several elements of the case were still unknown. That's when I found this in Wallace Nightgrave's locker. A bloody rapier. A rapier covered in blood. It was found in Wallace Nightgrave's locker. Apparently it's a valuable family heirloom of House Friga. It was reported and stolen by Miriam Friga weeks before the murder. Oh my goodness, things have changed greatly. This is a huge development in the case. Now Nova has enough to enter turnabout mode. Listen here. Listen here, fucker. That's my objection. Let's really do some Duel Links, bit of Soul, Demon Slayer, and end with a smidge of Jedi Fallen Order. Ooh, it sounds like a good smorgasbord. Well, thank you for stopping by. Feel free to stick around if you would like, lurk, watch. If you have to head on out, please do not hesitate. I understand that streaming is a little exhausting, but thank you once again for swinging by and dropping off your people. I will make sure that they are taken good care of while we have some good vibes tonight. It's very likely that this was the murder weapon. This rapier is a valuable family heirloom for House Frigga, and a few weeks ago, Miriam reported that the rapier was stolen from her home. But why was it found in Wallace's locker? Not that I'm complaining, but why didn't you present this in court? It's so funny that they have the action names like this spelled out. It's funny. To be honest, I'd like to avoid involving House Frigga by any means necessary. I knew it! You're protecting her, aren't you? Miss McCoy, do you recall how Wyverngard's justice system works? To acquit a defendant, you need to unequivocally prove that they didn't commit the crime. Okay, so the burden of proof is on us. I would have tired, so I'm gonna dip, get something to drink because I didn't manage to get anything pre-stream. And probably bid some Spirit Chronicles. Well, enjoy thine evening, imbibe deeply of the drinks, and hope you have a fantastic evening. To do that, they either need a solid alibi, or we need to prove that someone else committed the crime. What do you suppose will happen if you bring Miriam Frigga onto the stand? House Frigga won't allow one of its members to be indicted in a court of law. They'll plant and forge evidence to implicate your defendant, and they'll use the Inquisition to do so. Even I wouldn't be able to stop them should it come to that. So that's why you were keeping them away from the investigation. Can't you do anything? I thought the Steel Winds were powerful too. I don't have the support of my house. Right now, I'm just a prosecutor, nothing more. Oh. Steelwind, you know that this isn't fair for us. Just do nothing. Do nothing and let us win. Celeste, if we can't go after Miriam, then you can at least help us save Wallace. I'm not going to do that. Why? What if Miriam Frigga is the real killer? Her sword is the murder weapon, and Bellwether was trying to blackmail her. I seem to recall another case where an innocent person's sword was used to frame them. That's... As a prosecutor, it is not my place to decide who's guilty and who's not. I won't engage in corruption, even if it's to counter corruption from another noble house. I'm sorry. Do you know where Miriam is right now? Do you not hear what I just said? You can't let her think that there's even the slightest possibility you'll indict her. She'll bring the entire wrath of House Frigga down on you. I won't be able to protect you if that happens. I don't need your protection, and I can't do anything for Wallace unless I know everything that happened. Frigga has the last piece I need to put everything together. Well, I suppose I don't have much of a choice, do I? Her dormitory is room 107. I imagine that she'll be there, considering that classes are suspended. Thank you, Steelwind. If I don't tell you, I'm sure you'll probably find out using some other means. But please, Mr. Cuthbert, exercise caution. This is getting quite steamy. A little juicy, one might say. The one who actually committed the crime is you. No alibi, no justice, no dream, no hope. It's time to pay for your crimes. Take that. Dorm room. Wow, this is delightfully monochrome. I followed Steelwind's directions and found Miriam Frigga's dorm room. The door leading inside seemed a lot more ornately decorated than the other rooms. He's as clueless about caution as he is about sex. I want to yell that at someone, right? I want to yell that at someone at some point. You're as clueless about this as you are about sex. This isn't a judgment statement on your virginity, just that you don't... It's not comparing your lack of knowledge of one to the other. I went to knock on the door, not realizing that it was only partially closed. As my fist came into contact with the wood, I accidentally pushed it open. Disgruntled student. Ooh. As the door swung open, I made eye contact with the girl inside. She seemed to be studying at a desk, but she was now staring at me, stunned. I slowly saw her expression shift from a puzzled look to a furious and violent scowl. "Excuse me, how dare you barge into my room? These insects, they have no respect. Don't they know that the private time of a Weiss Schnee cosplayer is as valuable as gold?" Check me. Check the bathroom. There's cats wandering in here all the time. And if I leave cats in there, they're gonna start chewing on stuff. Quick. Mods, disgruntle. Sorry, I was trying to knock, but Construct, remove these hoodlums from my room. Acknowledged. From the corner of the room, an arcane construct stood up and began charging towards me at a terrifying speed. Before I even knew what was happening, it raised its fist to strike me. Whoa, haven't seen this spray before. Flustered, I fell back and raised my arms to shield myself. I closed my eyes, bracing for the impending impact, but instead, I heard the clang of steel striking stone. Confused, I opened my eyes to see Celeste standing between the construct and me. Her sword was drawn, and it was locked with the construct's fist. Despite the construct's imposing size and strength, Celeste was slowly pushing it back. Upon taking a closer look at Celeste, the girl narrowed her eyes. Construct, stand down. Acknowledged. I'm terribly sorry for that. I wasn't aware that this man was your servant. Celeste's hand was firmly clenched around the hilt of her sword, but she put it away without another word. I hadn't noticed you around campus. Are you a new student? If the academy allowed her to bring her retainer, she must be important. What are you talking about? I saw an opportunity. Yes, my master just enrolled here recently. What? Celeste squinted at me, confused. I just tilted my head towards Miriam. Yes, I just started here. I take it you're Miriam Frigga? Yes. It seems that my reputation precedes me. Miriam Frigga, 17, the spoiled daughter of House Frigga, one of the four pillar families. She's extremely arrogant, but appears to excel at her studies at the Imperial Academy. I can't imagine she has many genuine friends. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Lady... I'm Celeste. Celeste She caught herself, pausing for what was a very awkward moment. Steelwind. I'm Celeste Steelwind. Trying it on for size, huh? Was she serious? There was no way Miriam was going to believe Steelwind. It's a pleasure to meet another member of such an esteemed house. She must be from a distant branch family. Father may have a use for her. Wait, she was actually buying this? I just moved to Celeste Steelwind. This game has the sauce. This game is sauced up. This game is incredible. I love this game. I love this game. This game is good. I love this game. This game is great. I love this game. This game is good. I love this game. I just moved in and thought I should introduce myself, seeing as you're a top student in the field of conjugation. Conjuration. Yes. Well, there was no backing out now. Miss Frigga, I was wondering if we could ask you some questions about... Excuse me. I don't believe anyone has permitted you to speak. Oh, here we go. Celeste was still smiling, but I could faintly hear her grinding her teeth together. So, we heard about what happened to Professor Bellwether. I can't believe it. Yes, it's quite tragic what happened to her. She had always been a friend of House Frigga. She was obviously going to be more receptive to Celeste Steelwind. It might be better to let Celeste take the lead on the questioning. We heard that you saw her on the day of the murder. Could you tell us more about what happened? Oh, you heard about that from your relative, did you? If you don't mind me asking, why are you so interested? She's not like Arya. Is she? Oh, you know, I'm just curious is all. You know how uneventful life can be sometimes, being a noble and all. Alright, she really needed to tone it down. Oh, is that all? I was worried you were going down the same path as that poor, confused Arya. Well, I'm in the middle of a study break anyway. I suppose I have some time to spill some tea. Speaking of construct, please prepare us some tea. Use that lotus tea we imported from the Eastern Kingdoms. She might be useful. I should win her favor. Acknowledged. Lotus tea? You have lotus juice? I could feel myself slowly losing control of the situation. I heard that you were one of the last people who saw the professor. Where did this happen? It was in the hallways when I saw her coming out of the headmaster's office. She appeared to be heading towards the library. Do you remember what time this happened? I'm not really sure, honestly. It's a little embarrassing, but I have a bad habit of getting too absorbed in my work. I guess my greatest weakness is that I'm too dedicated to my craft. Oh, I get away with it all the time. Sometimes entire hours will pass without my notice. Do you have a rough idea, at least? I believe it was in the morning. So it was before her meeting with the headmaster. Did anything seem off about her? No, it was a short encounter. I merely greeted her, and she responded in kind. Or at least, that's what should have happened. That thought just now, what did it mean? Interesting reaction. But what does it mean? I slowly glanced at Celeste and caught her attention. Using small motions, I shook my head. Miriam was holding something back. Were you and the professor really on good terms? I heard she was pretty mean towards the other students. Towards the riffraff, maybe, but not to students like us. She was my personal instructor during summer break. She fulfilled a similar role to my sister when she studied here. She was a longtime friend of House Frigga. That's why we were planning on appointing her as the new headmaster. Wait, what did you just say? Did you just say that you were going to appoint Bellwether as the new headmaster? Oh, I'm surprised you didn't know. House Frigga holds several seats on the Academy's board, along with the Grand General. We were making plans to have her replace that lout Redmond. They were going to sack the headmaster? Did Headmaster Redmond know about this? Oh, of course not. This was part of a large-scale plan, a big picture thing. Along with Redmond, we were also going to replace all the staff members with arcane constructs. We had to keep everything under wraps, or else the help would have left before we were ready. And where would that leave us? But Jan suddenly overheard Bellwether talking about the constructs. Did Bellwether prematurely reveal the plan to Theodore? Or was Jan lying about how he found out? But alas, with Bellwether gone, we'll have to delay our plans. Uh-oh. So, we heard that Arya took your rapier as evidence for the case. Can you believe her? She still won't give it back to me. My father will have my head if I can't get it back soon. How did it even become part of the investigation anyway? I don't know. Arya won't tell me anything. I swear, if that necromancer was the one who stole it, I'll execute him myself. So someone did steal it from you? Yes, from right out of my room. When did that happen? About a few weeks ago. I noticed when I came back from one of my classes, someone removed the rapier from its display case in my room. How did they get into your room in the first place? Do you think someone used magic to teleport past the door? Please, I'm a master of conjuration magic. If someone attempted that, my enchantments would have shunted them out. That meant that the thief came through one of the doors or windows. I bet it was that necromancer. I'm sure a street child like him just knows how to pick a lock.
not killing you in my brain. I'm not killing you in my brain. I'm not doing it. That would be silly. Why are you asking that? I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't murder you in my head. That'd be silly. I heard that you're one of the Academy's top students. Your grades must be amazing. Of course. As an inheritor of House Frigga, my grades are impeccable. It feels good to have my greatness recognized. No one does that. No one does that. That was strange. I didn't see anything contradictory through the eye this time. Was she just delusional about how good of a student she was? I gestured to Celeste to continue pressing her. What kind of magic do you study here? Oh, you must be joking. I study magic from the School of Conjuration, just like most members of my house. The School of Conjuration. That's the type of magic that specializes in spatial manipulation, right? Yes, I consider myself quite the expert in that field. Why, the Crown Prince himself has asked for my assistance in a research study. It's nice to finally work with someone of my caliber. Again, I didn't see any thoughts that contradicted what she was saying. If she was smart enough to get the Crown Prince's attention, why would she be cheating? I would murder you in your room instead. No one would find you. No one would be able to teleport in here because of your own words. It'd be perfect. It's so ironic. I'm not doing it. Ooh, my sword is out, but it's not. I'm not here. I'm not hitting you with it. I just have it. It's not weird. It's not weird. Okay, it's not. You said something about my wayward relative before? Were you talking about Arya? I'm terribly sorry if I offended you, but I'm sure it must pain you to see the way that she's been acting lately. Yes, it's been extremely hard. Hang in there, Celeste. Did you know that she even interrogated me about the murder yesterday? Can you believe it? A steel wind running around a crime scene like a common night? Like, if I tried something like that, my father would disown me. She's so desperate to prove that she's nothing like her father. Is this really what you believe? Or are you just hiding the fact that you're here on your father's behalf? I am not working with my father. My apologies. I didn't mean to lose my temper like that. Is that why she became a prosecutor? Was it all to reject her bloodthirsty father? Honestly, she probably thinks she can do anything just because of her betrothed. She's so full of herself. Asta deserves better. But if the Grand General keeps drowning these villages in blood, I imagine even that will be in jeopardy. And when that happens, I'll steal him back. Yes, quite. Celeste's eyes perked up. I'd be lying if I said mine didn't too. I was also curious about who this Aster was, but I shook my head when she looked at me. We couldn't risk blowing our cover for some gossip about the prosecutor. You have an arcane construct in your room. I thought they were only in the library and the locker room. This construct was a gift from House von Sanctus. I have to say, they're quite convenient to have around. They look really cool. Maybe I should get one. You sure? A construct would be far more useful than this attendant of yours. Yeah, maybe. Unfortunately, there are still some issues with their intelligence. Their intelligence? It happens when you give them complex commands. It might be easier to show you. Miriam turned to the construct and began beckoning it over. Construct, please retrieve my textbooks and bring them here. Then, cast Steel Wind Strike at this location. After that, retrieve some plates and set them out at this table. Acknowledged. What? The construct stood up and retrieved Miriam's notebooks from one of the shelves in the room. It brought them to the table they were sitting at, just like she ordered. But then, it suddenly stopped. Wait, what happened? The construct obviously can't cast Steel Wind Strike, so my second command was impossible to carry out. But did you notice something else? It ignored your third command too. Exactly. My third command was possible to carry out. Constructs execute a series of commands in the order that they are given. But let's say one of those tasks is impossible to complete. When the construct gets to this task, it will deem the entire series impossible to complete. As a result, it will stop executing the series altogether. Okay, logic limitations. Folks, we've done it. Not only have we used the framework of D&D to apply spells to this world in a way that makes sense with a through line that you can connect with that knowledge, we've also added problem-solving card text. If do A, then do B, and if you do B, do C. MFer is out here being a counter-trap card that is negate that effect, and if you do, destroy it, and if you do that, draw a card. Hilarious. Lady Steelwind, I'm afraid we must leave now if we want to make our next engagement. Oh, right. Let's go, servant. Oh, leaving already? It was a pleasure talking to you. Yeah, sure. See you around. I made my way back to the foyer with Celeste. With all the time we'd spent, we only had a brief amount of time before night fell. But luckily, we found a lot during our investigation. Are you sure you didn't want to talk to her more? We were getting a lot out of her. We already got a lot of useful information out of her. The more time we spend with her, the more likely she is to see through our ruse and warn the prosecution. Right. So, why Steelwind? I don't know. I panicked. I don't remember any of the other houses' names. Pierce would have had a lower profile. I'm not using that creep's name. Hopefully Steelwind doesn't mind us borrowing her name. And we got her statement on what she saw that day. There's also what she said about her rapier. Bet she was lying when she said it was stolen. She was probably trying to establish an alibi. I'm not so sure. Why'd you say that? Doesn't it feel too obvious? If she was lying about the rapier being stolen, that would imply that she planned all of this in advance. But if she had to choose a murder weapon, why would she choose something that literally has her family's name on it? I'd understand if the murder was a spur-of-the-moment decision and somehow occurred in her dorm room. In a situation like that, she must have just used something nearby. But if this was a premeditated murder committed by Miriam, that rapier would be the last weapon she would choose. Right. I guess that makes sense. There's also the evidence of academic dishonesty. It doesn't match up with what we heard from Miriam. You mean all the stuff about working with the Crown Prince? She was probably just making things up to look good in front of me. I have an insight when it comes to things like this. Under certain circumstances, I can usually tell when someone is lying. I'd be able to see through a lie as grandiose as that. People can subconsciously shield themselves from the eye of Horus even if they didn't know about it. But when they did that, I wouldn't be able to see any thoughts from them. I saw that she was lying about her encounter with Bellwether. I would have seen dissonant thoughts if she was lying about her grades, too. Well, I guess your insight has never failed us before, but what does this mean? I don't know. Even with everything we found, I'm still not sure who the real culprit is. At the very least, I think we should try to pull Miriam onto the stand. If she testifies in court, I might be able to find something I can use. But that was a big maybe, and she was the daughter of the Duke of Finance. If I didn't play my cards right, that move could spook the judge enough to make him end the trial then and there. Wait, do we have time to kill? Do you want to head back to the library? We could continue your research. She was fidgeting with her hands. Her feet were already shuffling towards the library doors. You just want to read Dagger at Daggerfall, don't you? It's Death at Daggerfall, and it's a great series. Every time I try to pick one of these books up, I figure out who the killer is within the first few chapters. Yeah? Well, I'm a normal human being, okay? I'm not some murder-solving prodigy. Why don't you go read one of those Wraithbound books? Maybe you'll find the unpublished sequel there, too. Celeste, that series has been finished for centuries. The nobility paid Corn Bloomvale to write stories about evil necromancers. He's a sellout. Liches are magically impossible, but people still just eat that nonsense up. That man single-handedly threw the study of necromancy back into the Stone Age. What's wrong? I can't stop thinking about what Wallace said about Corn Bloomvale. Look, I get that you really like the series, but they're just books, Tyrion. They're more than that to me. Those books inspired me to do what I'm doing now. Wait, the story about the magic light swords inspired you to become a defense attorney? A long time ago, I experienced firsthand how corrupt Wyverngard was. I started assuming that the nobles would always win. But those books made me want to believe in a world where good could triumph over evil against all odds. And if I'd never had that, I don't know if I'd be here today. I get that, but Wallace really cares a lot about necromancy too. We've been feeling the stigma against it for this entire case. Is it really so hard to believe that those books contributed to how bad things are for him? You said it yourself. It's one of the most popular books out there. Do you even know what kind of person Corin Bloomfield was? Not really. So he could have been paid off by the nobility to write those books. No, someone who did that could never write something so beautiful. I'll grant you that it's likely he played into harmful stereotypes about necromancers, but I'm sure it was just an unfortunate mistake. I'm sure there are historical records that will note his many good deeds and contributions to society. Maybe if I show Wallace that, he'll understand that he wasn't all that bad. Sure. I looked over to her. She was already shuffling towards the entrance of the library. Alright, let's go. Woohoo! She barely acknowledged me. She flung open the doors to the library and ran inside. Nova, what hour is it for you? It is past 11. But we have not reached midnight quite yet. By the time I entered the library, she was already sitting at a table, her eyes glued to the unpublished manuscript. All right, where to start? Sleep? No, not yet. It can't be now. We can't do sleep now. We have to at least get to the next trial day. We're so close. Here we are, Corin Bloomfield's autobiography. 1 hour later. Oh, that hour flew by. I still couldn't finish. Oh my god, how many books did you get? He was a Steelwind, Celeste. What? He wasn't just paid by the nobility, he was of the nobility! Was that in the historical records? No, it's all one giant conspiracy! I found his old submissions to writing competitions that he'd made under his original name. The prose he used back then matches his style too closely. It's uncanny when you compare them. Some of these submissions even contain story elements that he later used and published in Wraithbound. How did you even... His real name was Lorenzo Steelwind, born in the year 208. He deserted the army, he was disowned by his family, but they paid him off, Celeste. They saw that the masses liked his writing, they corrupted him, they used his artistry as a weapon to turn the public against the necromancers, and he just went with it. They dangled his inheritance in front of him like a carrot on a stick. Tyrion, what in the actual hell? We've only been here for an hour. I know, if I just had more time, I could find enough evidence to prove this once and for all. I'm sure if I could take a few more hours to... What, Tyrion, no! Wallace's trial is tomorrow morning. Scaled, Lord, how could I forget? It's fine, let's just... Wallace want to hear about what I found. Oh, okay, whatever, let's just go home. Naught could remain concealed, Celeste. Sure, Tyrion, you did great, good job. Naught could remain concealed. Naught could remain concealed. Okay, we're at the next trial day, so I guess we can go ahead and... How long have we been streaming for? What's our time? Dub. 2.5 hours. I think 2.5 hours is a fine amount to be streaming for stuff, so we are just going to... yeah, we'll just go ahead and call it here for tonight. Before we go, though, let me go ahead and shout out a channel that I will be guest starring on tomorrow. Delta V3_EN. I have been invited to do some domain dueling on someone else's channel, Delta V3_EN. We are going to be doing character domain duels. Everyone else has not shared their deck list, so I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I will be playing the inimitable Jack Atlas. We'll be using a Red Dragon Archfiend deck, and I will be
doing as much character work as possible. So if you like over the top, if you like the Master of Faster, you definitely got to make some time for tomorrow. It's going to be 3 p.m. Central Time. Vampire Ian's going to be there. Oracle's going to be there. If you've enjoyed her appearances on some of my own Domain Duel stuff, it promises to be a fantastic time. I cannot wait. You should Richard's Dies Irae, by the way. Dies Irae game. Okay, I've got it loaded up here. Okay. So what is it for me? You might have noticed on the screen while we were on the screen while we were streaming, but I am bringing my Patreon up as kind of little my clever, subtle, put it in the heads up display reminder. I'm doing my best to build the Patreon because I have used the current job that I'm in for what I had originally wanted to, i.e. paying off my taxes, but because of the trade-off between having to do that work, I had to spend that time doing that job, and now my channel payout is much smaller than it used to be, so I do not have the funds to go back to being full-time. The best way I can do that, outside of some random spike in popularity on YouTube, boosting my ad revenue to unforeseen heights, is direct support from all of you. If you or a friend enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh! Content and you enjoy what I have done or want to see me do more stuff, that is a great way to help support it. Even $1 a month is a huge bonus because I love it when I have a bunch of $1 supporters because you can probably afford to do $1 all the time. That's stable income for me. It's not a huge impact on you. So if you have enjoyed any of it, please consider it for just a moment. And if you have some funds, please support me. Every one of those puts us back on track to doing this full time. I can get videos out more consistently. We can do more streams, all that stuff. That's my large pitch. Here's the other links for all of my other stuff. My YouTube is there to watch my videos that I make. My Blue Sky for all of my announcements, unhinged comments, all that stuff. And the Discord where we all hang out. That is all of my plugging.